Friday, February 10th, 10:58 a.m. A little late in the day for me, but regardless, we're going to do a good old-fashioned coffee cheers to you, to the family. Today's actually a protein coffee cheers. A little trick I learned from a guy named Kane Samabat, who goes by the name Timba Wolf on Instagram. He has a lot of followers. He's 49 years old, and he is a contradiction to everything you think should be going on with a 49-year-old. He's one of the original guys that started talking about flexible dieting a decade or more ago. You know, it's called If It Fits Your Macros now, where you can basically eat ice cream or cookies or whatever as long as you hit certain macronutrients in your diet. And one of the many things I've learned from him is that he was putting whey protein powder in his coffee and making it like his breakfast. And I started doing it, and it tastes amazing. And it's not like putting sugar and all that crap into your coffee or going to Starbucks and getting what is basically a milkshake with caffeine in it. This way, it's just straight protein powder and coffee. Best of both worlds. Totally love it, man. But he's an interesting guy. Like I was mentioning, he was 10 plus years ago trying to show bodybuilders and people that wanted to be in shape that you can have junk food from whenever you want from time to time, as long as you don't go overboard. And as long as everything hits these certain macronutrient numbers, you're fine. He's a pretty shining example of it too. I mean, he's 49. He's in better shape than most 29-year-olds or 21-year-olds. It's pretty amazing. Look him up. He's great. He's breaking like all of the rules and all of the laws that are supposed to be applicable to bodybuilding and even aging. I mean, the guy's 49. He's looking younger every year. He's in better shape every year. It's crazy. But I love how he breaks the rules. And that's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. For the past couple of weeks, there's been this phrase going through my head that I can't seem to get out of it. And so I've been sharing it, and it goes, right now, today, we're learning that everything that we were taught 20 years ago was wrong. And I would expect that 20 years from now, we're going to learn that everything we were learning today is wrong as well. We'll learn it again. Let me see if I can find the exact. I tweeted it in a much better way. Let me see if I can pull up the tweet and just read it. Here it is. Today we're learning that everything we were taught 20 years ago was wrong. 20 years from now, we'll learn it again. I posted that on Twitter last night. I guess it actually showed up, and it's got a lot of likes and retweets and stuff. And so I wrote a blog post about it as well. That's live right now on my blog, malandarras.com. But what I talk about is 20 years ago, we were a pretty naive society. There was no internet. There was, but it wasn't as prevalent as it is now. And there wasn't as much information. But thanks to the internet and services like WikiLeaks and other news organizations and stuff like that, we're able to learn what's really going on in a way that we've never been able to do before. In the past, 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 60 years ago, when I was growing up, when your parents were growing up, when my grandparents were growing up, we were all kind of fed information through the idiot box, the TV. Whatever they said on TV, we trusted it to be true. I mean, if it was on the CNN news, if they said something, we believed it, right? On Fox News, if they say it, we believed it. If they said it on the television, it was true, or the radio, anything. You know, going further back, the radio was the way to get information. You turned it on, whatever they said, that was the truth. Before then, I don't know what they did. Drove around and yelled out of the back of truck beds or something, telling people what was going on. I don't know, Morse code, I don't know. But 20 years later, in 2017, we're learning that all of that was a lie. It was all incorrect. It was all wrong. And a lot of it was just flat out lies. And it's so cool these days to be able to look it up for yourself and find out, oh, wait, they're all lying. A great example is, the election last year was terrible. It was one of the craziest elections we've ever seen. A lot of mudslinging, a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of divisive language and marketing that has basically at this point split the country in half. You're either a liberal or a conservative, and both sides want to kill each other. It's kind of an interesting phenomenon, because what that really proves to me, as a guy that's been dealing with marketing for a decade, it just proves to me how susceptible we are. We still are. A lot of the country is still so susceptible to marketing messages. And here's a good way to test that. If you believe that Donald Trump is a rapist and a communist or a Nazi, then you are probably susceptible to advertising and marketing messages. You probably buy things like ab rollers on late night infomercials, because none of those three things are true. They were marketing messages used by the Clinton campaign to beat Trump, and they should have worked. What she did basically was start a race war, and if she had won, it would have diffused that bomb. Everyone would have been like, okay, we won. But she didn't win. So now the bomb's still out there, and there is a race war happening in some ways. Maybe it's a beliefs war, but people are getting hurt. People are getting punched in the face and sprayed with mace and kicked and beaten just for the presidential candidate they like, because we swallowed the pill that they were selling. You know, that this guy's bad or this woman's good. They're all corrupt. They always have been. But today, we can finally, thanks to places like, look at WikiLeaks, we can go and read the emails of just about everyone and see what's going on behind the scenes. And what's going on behind the scenes is worse than we ever imagined. We've all been lied to for a long time. But it's not necessarily bad news. It's good news, because now you can learn for yourself, make your own decisions, and not worry about what they're telling you. I mean, the one thing that really hit me is the food pyramid that we all grew up with. I mean, I was born in the mid-'70s. I was in school through the '80s, and we were shown this USDA food pyramid, right? That had grains and wheat and bread on the bottom, making up like 70% of the pyramid. Then above that, there was, maybe meats and fish. And then above that was oils, and it said sparingly use fats and oils. So the majority of your diet was to be carbs, bread, wheat, and stuff like that, grains. Then your meats and your poultry and your fish. And then at the very tip top, a little bit of fat, moderately use these oils. And we all believed it, and our parents believed it, and they showed it to us, and they taught us to eat that way, and the schools built our lunches based on that and everything. And as it turns out, now we know, you can get online and Google it for yourself. The reason the food pyramid was set up the way it was because the grain industry, the bread, grains, and wheat, that industry just paid for like product placement. They lobbied and paid enough money so that they put that at the bottom of the pyramid. So we would eat more of it so they would make more money. I mean, if they had put carbs at the very tip top and said, limit your carbs, eat a lot of fats and meats, and then sparingly eat carbs, the grain and the wheat and the bread industry would have had a lot of trouble. Cereal, all those companies would have been in real trouble. So they paid millions of dollars to be placed at the bottom of the pyramid as the most beneficial food group on earth or whatever. And now we're learning, like some studies are saying, that the USDA, that food pyramid could be to blame for all of the obesity that's happening now, and the diabetes. You look around your family, your friends, your work, your coworkers. Everyone's overweight. Everyone's, a lot of people are obese, and a lot of people are getting diabetes. And they're even making they're making it the standard to be overweight now. It's called fat shaming if you tell someone that they need to lose a few pounds, which is ridiculous, because I was gaining weight at one point in my life, and a good friend of mine, I was drinking a lot and eating a lot of crap. He looked at me, I had my shirt off, and he said, "You know what, dude?" He said, "If you don't lose some weight now, you're going to have a real problem You're getting fat. And if you don't take care of it now, it's going to turn into a problem for you. You're about to go past the point of no return. And it shocked me at first, and it hurt my feelings really bad. But it also set me on a path to try to figure out, okay, how do you get in shape? I started lifting weights. Many years later, I started playing around with my food. And, that was a long time ago. But today, I'm in much better shape. And had he not had the balls to kind of hurt my feelings and say, hey, dude, you need to do something about that weight, or you're going to have a problem getting it off. He did me a favor. It wasn't a put down. It wasn't shaming me. It hurt my feelings for a minute, but it set me on a path that helped me in the long run. So anyway, I don't even know what kind of rabbit trail I just went down. But the food pyramid was another lie. There's some studies saying now that the carbs are causing all the problems that we're having, but they paid to be there. Like, it's so weird to be able to Google and look up and find all of this stuff that's going on behind the scenes. And it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's good to know, because now we know that 20 years ago, most of what we were taught is untrue. You have to go to high school and college, you have to graduate and get a degree, and then you'll have a good life. That's not true at all. I know a lot of people with college degrees that are looking for work, and I know a lot of college dropouts and high school dropouts that have become millionaires. And I mean, there's tons of cases of high school and college dropouts that are now tech billionaires. So that whole concept is kind of dead. School now, when I think about organized school, it's more of just, in the beginning, it's a training program for slavery, wage slavery. And they limit the way that you think, the way that you talk. They put us into groups. Like all the black kids start hanging out with other black kids. All the white kids hang out with the other white kids. The rich kids hang out with the rich kids. The poor kids hang out with the poor kids. The heavy metal kids hang out with the heavy metal kids. Everyone's kind of sectioned off into groups early. You learn that in school, and then when you grow up, like, that's what feeds racism, in my opinion. And then there's college, which could be looked at as a debt program. It's a way to get people in debt, and have them in debt for the rest of their lives. Just Google something about college debt, and you'll see the numbers are astronomical. It's unbelievable, and it's insanity. And hopefully in the near future, it will all be turned around and stopped. And here's the other thing. 20 years ago, they told us all this stuff. Now we know that they were lying, or just not smart enough yet to tell us the truth. They didn't know. Now we know a lot of new stuff. We have a lot of new information about the universe, about food, about drugs, about marijuana. They told us marijuana was going to kill us 20 years ago. Now we know it's like helping cure cancer and anxiety and depression, and could replace almost every other medication on the market in some cases. The CBD oil is curing cancer in some people. It's stopping seizures in some people. It's helping kids with epilepsy, but they still have it classified as like a Schedule 1 with heroin. It's ridiculous. But here's the thing. 20 years ago, they told us a bunch of crap that wasn't true. Now we know. 20 years from today, we're going to find out that everything we think we know now is also wrong. And that's good news too, because what that means is there are no rules. Like, all the rules that are placed on me right now, or that I've placed on myself based on what I was told in my past, they're all false. They're fake. I was terrified I was told all through high school that if I didn't graduate and go to college, that I would be a loser. Like, that's what our school counselor said. That's what every adult I knew said. That's what all the kids said. We all believed it. And I sit here today with no high school diploma, no college, anything, and I'm doing just fine. There's plenty more people like me that are doing just fine. And to tell you the truth, if I was to do it all again, I would have quit school earlier. I would have left after the 8th grade probably, because high school for me was just nothing. I didn't learn anything. I didn't really pay much attention. I just wasted time. But here's the comforting thought in all this. If everything we learned 20 years ago was wrong, then there's a pretty good chance, especially with technology and the way things are advancing, that in 20 years from now, we're going to learn that everything we think now is wrong too. And that's freeing to me. Because what that means is the rules and limitations that I have on myself right now probably won't make sense in the future. They're going to go, that was wrong, that was wrong, that was wrong. So if that's the case, that means I can break the rules and probably be okay. I'm not saying I'm going to go out and start shooting people or do like the guy in my neighborhood and just start stabbing people on the street. Nothing like that. I'm just saying the chains are off and the doors are open. And if there's a rule that's holding me back, a good rule is age in music. After the age of 26, you're no longer able to be in the music industry, right? Totally wrong. If you want to be Britney Spears, it's probably a good idea to get famous when you're younger, because the way that the pop demographic works out is your fans are usually 10 years younger than you. So you need to be, if you're 21, your fans are 11. That's a great place to start, because then they'll grow up with you. But who's to say, a lot of people have made it in their 30s and 40s. And who's to say you can't play music until you're 100? There's no rule. There is no rule that says you're ever too old to play music. That's something that was told to me early on when I was a teenager. I was just dreading. It was like a fight to my mid-20s. Like, oh God, here it is. I'm 25, I'm 26, it's over. And to tell you the truth, that sabotaged a lot of stuff that I was doing because I believed that I was too old. And I'll tell you some funny stories about. I remember being 29, and I was so ashamed of being 29. I made everyone in the band swear that they wouldn't tell this guy, this major industry attorney, entertainment attorney that was working with us and shopping us to every major label. I made them swear to never tell him that I was 29, because if they found out, we wouldn't get a deal. Now I look back, I'm like, what was I thinking, man? 29, you're just a baby. But those rules and things that people had said, they infiltrated my mind and stifled my creativity and stopped my progress. And I'm here to tell you today, you don't have to let that happen to you. If you were told that you had to do X, Y, and Z to be happy, or if you were told you have to do X, Y, and Z to be successful, it's all bullshit. Forget it. There are no rules. There are no laws to your life. There are certain things that will get you in trouble in our society. If you go out and stab someone, you're going to get arrested and put in a cage. If you don't pay your taxes, they will come, take you, and put you in a cage. There are certain consequences to some actions, but there are no real rules or laws. We made them all up, and they change all the time. If you look back at the old rules and laws, there's stuff like a sheep cannot be taken across a bridge unless the lantern is held at 16 degrees and held in the right hand for the whole crossing, or you go to jail, or just ridiculous, outdated laws. And that's kind of how everything is now. Any limitations, any rules, any laws, anything that's been told to you that's holding you back, it's all BS. If it was told to you 20 years ago, it's been proven now that it's false. If it was told to you this morning or last night by a teacher, a boss, a family member, a parent, a child, anyone, in 20 years, you'll look back and see that it was incorrect and silliness. So it's kind of a freeing thought. I've been thinking about it, and then I tweeted it, and it got a good reaction, so I wrote a blog post about it. The blog post is actually malandarras.com/lied. And the title is, Good News, You've Been Lied To. I outline it a little bit better there. And you can check it out if you want. One last thing before I go. I run an affiliate marketing forum called Mad Society. And a few days ago, I got a killer message. I know there are some affiliate marketers that watch this and don't know what to do. They're lost. They're looking for answers. And you're looking to guys like me to figure out what the hell you're supposed to be doing. And I have this forum. You can join it or not join it. I don't really care. I'm going to tell you that it's helpful. If you're new and lost, it's helpful. And here's a message I got from someone just the other day. I have a thing that I posted in the forum called my 3X optimization system. And it's basically the way that I start a launch. And it's different than I've never seen it anywhere else. But it increases your chances of making money by about 300%. It's in the forum right now, madsociety.net, waiting for you if you want it. But here's a message I got from a guy. He's new, brand new. He sent me a message saying, hey, I'm glad to be here, blah, blah, blah. Then about a week later, he sent me a message that said, dude, I just wanted to tell you that on my first 3X optimization campaign, I broke even. And if you don't know, breaking even on a campaign is a great sign. That means all you have to do is flip a couple switches and it's profitable. So he said he broke even. And he says, woo! Now it's time to fucking get rid of this shit placements and scale this fucker to the moon. God damn, man. Thank you again for everything you have taught me, Malan. I love you, brother. And, you know, I'm sorry about the curse words, but that's how human beings talk, and that's how we talk in the forum. And that message made my day. Because sometimes I wonder, I'm like, am I doing good enough? Am I telling these guys enough? Am I showing them the right things? And then when the truth is, when someone logs into the forum and follows the rules that are in there, 99% of the time they do well. They do okay. When they get in there and start just doing random campaigns, pulling offers from networks and trying things out because it looks good, failure, 100% failure, 99% failure. Every once in a while, someone gets lucky, but it's heartwarming to get messages like that, because then I know I'm really helping people, and that's really what the forum's all about. So if you're interested, go check it out, madsociety.net. And that's all for today, guys. We're at 21 minutes, went a little long, that's okay. I took some edibles this morning and started talking about rules and laws and 20 years ago and all of this. And I went a little longer than normal, but you know, it's Friday. We did it, another week down. I hope you had a good week. Get ready for the weekend. If you're working 9 to 5, you've got 2 whole days to live your life. If you're working from home or a self-employed person, you have 2 days that you can just work more. Anyway, man, thanks for tuning in. I hope you're doing well. Be sure to subscribe. We just passed 6,000 subscribers a few days ago, trying to get to 7 now. So be sure to subscribe, help us get there. And as always, I will see you in the future.